Our points leader may not have won since Hockenheim, but his impressive streak on the podium has meant he's starting to look untouchable. If Viekainen keeps it up here at Spa, it might allow him to simply cruise home to the championship. Let's see what today holds as we get ready to watch round 9 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and joining me in the booth is Roush Racing driver Joey Atterbury. Behind the scenes is our director, Daniel Costello, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Spa is a classic track, and the Lotus 79 is a classic car, yet, ironically, this was not a circuit it raced on. History lessons aside, let's step in closer to see what modern-day Spa is like.
Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps. Less than an hour's drive east from the German border, this Belgian track has come to define racing for many different eras in the sport. It's no wonder it continues to entrance drivers when you look at the stats. The 7 kilometers over the course of a lap includes more than 330 feet in elevation change as it weaves its way through the Ardennes forest. Packed into this is 19 turns, some of which are considered among the most famous in the world of racing. Corners like La Source and Blanchemont have been on the lips of drivers for decades. But by far the most notorious is Eau Rouge and Rétillon. Typically referred to in name by just the first section, it dips low and swings left, then compresses and climbs to the right up a massive hill. The sequence ends with a completely blind crest that sweeps to the left and leads onto the incredibly long Kemmel Straight. The bravery required to be fast through there will pay off towards one of the most popular passing spots at Lacombe. Eau Rouge is exemplary of the rest of the circuit though. Most of the turns are incredibly fast and many include much of that signature elevation change. As jaw-dropping as the track is, you have to remember that this is the modern truncated layout. The old one, raced until 1979, was 14 kilometers in length, yet carried an average speed of 150 miles per hour. Present-day safety measures do cut down on the danger, but even in recent history, the circuit has proven deadly. It's clear why this track continues to be revered and respected by racers the world round.
Well, as we can see, this place has enjoyed some incredible history, but this is going to be a bit of a different start from where modern F1 actually races from.
Absolutely, but when you consider this racetrack, Spa, it is an awesome, fast, high-speed place with tons of elevation, lots of opportunities to pass, but we are in the classic pits today. The biggest thing that we have to remember is we start off on the downhill headed towards Eau Rouge and Rétillon, so that's where the standing start will take place. That is also where the start-finish line is. So, and when we come up to that checkered flag, you have to make it through La Source and then down to that checkered flag. But a few key areas here, the Kemmel Straight, huge top speed opportunity leading into the biggest and best passing opportunity there on the racetrack into Lacombe, and then downhill through Malmedy into Rivage. Several different names have been made throughout the turn names around this place, but one thing's for sure, it is up and down, it is incredibly fast, they're going to be dealing with dirty air all around this place. Who's got the fastest top-end speed? That's usually what ends up the winner here at Spa.
Indeed, and well, we'll see if Viekainen has that. As I mentioned, he's leading the points handily at this stage. Without the drop weeks, it would be just utter domination over Juho Rainer, who's not been slow. He's taken wins. He's been on the podiums himself, but because of his few drop weeks that he's had to take, he is now behind by almost an entire win. Antti Lepisto has been kind of creeping up in there, but he hasn't been showing up enough that he's going to be a serious threat, unfortunately. And then Hugh Haycox has been on and off, but needs to try and take a victory at some point if he wants to try and challenge as well for those top 3 positions. From there on down, it really tightens up amongst the field. You look at Zamaloa all the way down to Gernot Friesche, and you've got 50 points, less than 50 points, separating about 5 drivers. So that's going to be a more fascinating battle here in the last few stages of this season's championship. Now, they're the same cars, but we also have an F2 standings that they run here.
And it is Thomas Silbernagel currently leading the way. Look at that, 40 points over second place of Chris Roberts. But that battle for second place includes those three drivers. Only 15 points between Chris Roberts, Timothy Vandenberg, and Arnold Cook. So that second place very much up for grabs. And then we have another battle here kind of for what is the fifth place position. Miguel Moreland, Robert Simpkins, Pablo Suarez only separated by about 11 points each. And then look at how close Keith Herner and Cam Porter are. Only 1 point separating that battle for eighth place. Quite the championship standings right here.
For the race itself, we're not going to see that many laps, especially compared to the last few weeks where we've had much shorter lap times. Only 21 laps that the drivers will have to try and complete the race here. They have an open setup, as you heard Joey talking about. It's going to be mostly about trying to get straight line speed, but there's also a lot of fast corners, so a bit of downforce could do you good, mostly stability, I imagine. They have no spare car if you wind up damaging it. That is definitely easily doable despite the huge amounts of runoff in some places. It's because of those speeds. You could wind up in the wall. Drive-through penalty and a DQ at 17 and 25 incidents respectively is also a serious threat here if you wind up abusing those track limits with that paved runoff. Now, you have to kind of hustle out there because it's over 2 minutes to set a lap time, so you can't dilly-dally sitting in the pits. And drivers are just now putting that first lap in. Topi Kortiniemi has the provisional pole. Viekainen's all the way down in fifth.
Kind of put that in perspective, we have 8 minutes of qualifying. Like Joe was saying, 2 minutes just for the outlap alone. If you sit around in the pits for anything more than a minute and a half and then you're on a slow out lap, you are in danger, I should say, of not completing that second lap out there. So yeah, Topi Kortiniemi, Gernot Frischa, Peter Konecny, your top three, and the entire field is on their second timed lap right now.
Frischa coming back after his first win, I believe, since last fall. So he is actually very, very close at 15 thousandths of a second behind Topi Kortiniemi. Could he try and challenge for back-to-back wins? Be curious to know. Not sure if we've got Michael the Turk here to help us out, but if we could find out when the last time he had a back-to-back win was. Kortiniemi comes to the line. Well, no, excuse me. Even I got caught out this time. He'll come to the line here out of La Source down the hill. After, remember, the finish line is here as they get ready to cross under the gantry. Let's see if he can improve, and he does. It's a 2:03.8. That is a huge jump, about half a second quicker.
We'll see if anybody can catch the Finns over the finish line here as Topi, like you said, and now Kimmo provisionally P2 as he sets down a 2:04.22, riding on board Gernot Frischa right now. So Gernot is provisionally third on the board. All he's got to do is hit this brake marker, but it is crucial to get the acceleration, the traction out of La Source and the run to the line here. Let's see what the number 3 can put down.
All right, Frischa crosses, and it's a 2:03.9. That's going to put him back up to the front row ahead of Viekainen. Looks like Togo Hisada has joined us. We see him occasionally, and he's managed sixth. Hugh Haycox with an excellent qualifying there in P5. Sam Ryman currently sitting in 22nd. This is top split. It is always tough to try and be fast around here. Let's see what he's got as he gets ready to set that second lap.
Coming across the line, a 2:05.8. It'll jump him up into the 16th place position. A nice advancement there for Sam.
This is going to be close for Tanahato. I don't think he's going to be able to get... no, excuse me, not Tanahato. I'm watching Daniel Gallus on my screen. We've got the Benelux driver here that we are watching. And yeah, Gallus was a lot closer, but he's going to be maybe about 10 seconds shy of getting across the line. And our qualifying is done then as the clock hits 0. That means that Topi Kortiniemi is going to be starting on the pole position. Gernot Frischa will be in P2, trying to take a back-to-back win. Kimmo Viekainen will start from third as Timothy Reed will be P4, and Hugh Haycox will be fifth. Toga Hisada will start P6 today as Peter Konecny will be the inside of the next row in seventh, and Juho Raina, and unfortunately low qualifying for him, starting eighth. Antti Lepisto P9 will then be flanked by Dylan Freckleton in 10th.
Then in 11th, we have Timothy Vanderberg in the number 25 car. Patrick Samaran lined up next to him in 12th place in the number 23. Barry West starting in 13th. Jean-Francois Boscus in 14th. Xavier Sanchez going to be starting way back here in 15th. Sam Ryman next to him in 16th. Daniel Banker in 17th. Miguel Moreland starting 18th. On row number 10 here, it's Ian Haycox in 19th and Pablo Suarez in 20th.
Then in 21st, it's Javier Mosquera with Daniel Gallus starting 22nd, was unable to get that second lap in. Chris Roberts was the last one to set a time, P23. Thomas O'Leary, 24th, and Christian Tanahato will start 25th here today, waiting for the last of them to grid up. Thankfully, they don't have to try and survive heading through La Source on that first lap right out of the gate, but it is still tricky trying to cycle through, getting single file up through Eau Rouge. And pretty good conditions as well here, Joey, at 72 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice, cool, calm day at Spa with everybody lined up on the grid here. I always say the calm, cool temperatures, that usually means more aggressive racers, more grip available to them on the racetrack, so they know they can take it ultra deep in those brake zones.
Looks like the lights are up and the green flag is out off the line. It is a poor start for Timothy Reed. He falls backwards as Hisada, and it looks like Haycox are able to sneak through on him on that one as they crest the hill. It is now going to be a fight up through the Kemmel Straight as look at them fan out with the draft.
It is Togo Hisada poking his nose 3 wide. Now he thinks better of it, but it was that yellow car of Gernot Frisha that really got choked up on the start. He's 2 wide with Hugh Haycox now as Topi Cortignani and Kimmo Vilkainen trying to escape.
Oh, Haycox slips up big time. Togo Hisada going to try and pick his pocket as he gets a better run out of Malmedy. He's got the inside coming down into Rivage, almost banging wheels between them, left just enough space. Haycox is not willing to give an inch here, and he's going to come back out ahead out of no name.
And I think Togo Hisada is loving the downforce made out of these Lotus 79 machines. He's typically found in the 49s, but doing quite a bit of crossover recently.
Yep, and it's serving him well here today, but he's still in 5th. That's only 1 position gain, still a net gain for him as we watch them now head through Fanyes. And Topi Cortinimi is still your leader after that one, but Kimmo Vilkainen follows him closely in 2nd place. Hisada coming down the hill here through Stavelo 1 and 2, getting ready to get on the throttle with a long run up the Blanchimont.
Yeah, the lowest point on the circuit, and like you were saying, all the way up the hill from here, checking back in on this giant train. This is from 12th place Patrick Samaran, and looks like Peter Konechny had an issue back there, but I count about 10 cars going up the hill.
Looks like just went off into the gravel, lost a bunch of positions, fell towards the back of the field. Pablo Suarez, we saw there in a side-by-side battle, is having to defend because Mosquera behind him, almost gets into the back of Sam Ryman. And thankfully, it looks like they will get away if they did make contact. But now we're looking at 3 wide with Suarez and Lepisto.
Yeah, look at this. 3 wide into La Source. Javier Mosquera down on the inside. Can he get the car stop? Yes, he does, but he doesn't get the exit. It is Antti Lepisto that puts the power down.
My goodness, it is frantic here coming around to complete lap 1. They're going to have a game of chicken down into Eau Rouge, which it looks like Daniel Gallus will win over Mosquera. Now Suarez gets the double toe as we watch Miguel Moreland in front of them as well. Fighting off, it looks like Thomas O'Leary, and O'Leary is going to be able to make the pass down into Lacombe just as they exit the 2nd apex. Oh no, what's happened to Haycox?
Looks like he's had a little issue. It doesn't look like there's any damage on the car. I wonder if this was just a self-spin in an area that you're using a lot of those curbs. These Lotus 79 cars, if you upset that underflow of air, it typically kind of loses a lot of the grip. Hugh Haycox, I think, might have been caught out by it, but it stacks everybody up behind him for sure.
I am afraid it was not on his own. It looks like he had some contact with Togo Hisada. So we'll see if we can get a view on that later. Has sent him down to 10th position after what was a fierce start from him. A bit of a shame out of that. So as behind them. Oh my goodness, Freckleton side by side with Samaran. Samaran's not going to be able to hold him back. That was fierce stuff from the number 9.
Well, and I think that Samaran's going to have his mirrors full because here comes Thomas O'Leary right now with an exit of a... Oh, no, and there's a car going around behind. I believe that was Miguel Moreland as Thomas O'Leary is going to try to complete this pass the long way around.
Is this cold tires that we're seeing? A lot of cars finding themselves facing the wrong way here early as Thomas O'Leary cuts back across to try and make sure to stay ahead of Samaran, and under braking. Oh, he almost overshoots it, but I think Thomas will hold on to it after a huge gain that he had in the Lotus 49s. Thomas trying to repeat that here in the 79s.
Yeah, he didn't put down a qualifying time, but I can report that pass that we just saw as we watched Timothy Vandenberg in turn 1. I was going to say Thomas O'Leary in that number 11 did make contact, and he has front right wing damage now.
Fastest lap for Topi up at the top of your screen, so our leader's trying to pull away from Viakainen. Meanwhile, Timothy Vandenberg here still fighting with Dylan Freckleton. Both of them down 1 from the start. Start comparison to Tanahato ahead of them, up 15. Better straight line speed for Vandenberg as he starts to pull ahead, but using that extra downforce. Oh, braking too deep. Freckleton gets into him. More contact with Thomas O'Leary, and another car, unfortunately, stuck at the side of the track as he also hits him. That's Daniel Gallus.
Yeah, that was a large group of cars coming up to somebody stopped in the middle of the racetrack. Not a whole lot of areas that you can go as we check back in on Hugh Haycox. He's the caboose riding this 4-car train. Right in front of it is Xavier Sanchez. Then we've got Jean-Francois Boscus in the number 12 and Daniel Banker in kind of that light blue and white number 18.
This is not the messiest we've seen out of this series, but I have to admit, this is a little sloppy for these guys at the start of this race. A lot of action out there and lots of drivers that are now out of position in the early stages.
And it's busy, right? I mean, Hugh Haycox was way up there. Like you said, a lot of drivers out of position. It's going to cause a lot of even more chaos later in the races. They're going to have to work their way back up to those positions just based off of their speed.
So Hugh Haycox on his recovery. He's got Daniel Banker in his sights right now. Looks like he's gaining. Is he going to try and send it up the inside, coming up into the bus stop? Yes, he is. Deep on the brakes. We've seen a lot of drivers overshoot, but not this time for Hugh Haycox as the Englishman moves himself to 8th.
And I think that Hugh is definitely one of the faster drivers, at least here in today's race, but he admittedly doesn't put a ton of practice time here in on the 79s. He's going to move up in front of Daniel Banker right there. It looked like Daniel Banker just kind of got out of the way. So now Hugh Haycox is free to chase down Xavier Sanchez right in front of him.
That was Boscus that was trying to have a little bit of a battle with Banker on top of things. In fact, we'll get another pull as they get ready to run up the Kimmel Straight one more time, but he's going to have a friend behind him, Christian Tanahato, who has been charging. Is he going to try and get a 2-for-1 with a 3 wide? Looks like Jean-Francois will at least give an attempt, but he can't quite break deeper than the likes of Banker.
That white car on the very end, you just mentioned him. Tanahato, he caught this group at a rapid pace, and now he's looking down to the inside of Jean-Francois Boscus again. Christian is on the charge right now. He is not waiting up for anybody.
A little bit of a defense there from Boscus, and that's going to put him offline with a poor exit. Christian sees an opportunity, takes a brave man to go 2 wide into Puhan, and it looks like Boscus is not that man today. He'll back out.
Yeah, and up 16 positions so far for Christian. So I think the next one on his list will be Daniel Banker. But as we often see, the more you click off, the more difficult it gets.
Exactly. So will this start to slow him down up in front of him? I tell you what, it's not slowing down Hugh Haycox. Look in front of him. He's already caught up to Xavier Sanchez, popular streamer here on iRacing, goes by Heike360. And he is already having to deal with the recovering number 4. Let's see if he gets another one in the second lap in a row coming up into the braking.
Yeah, through Blanchimont, right in the slipstream. Now he pokes his nose, driver's right, and way deep on the brakes as Hugh Haycox just kind of flex and the muscle, I really do feel like he's one of the fastest here in this race. It's just he doesn't necessarily know the nuances because he doesn't spend enough time here in the 79s. But when he's on the rails, look out, he is smoking fast.
He absolutely is. Viacani with another fastest lap up there, trying to catch up to Cortiniemi now. He's been keeping him within about a second if you've been watching that tower on the left-hand side. But Hugh Haycox is actually only one down from where he started at this stage. Can we give some love, though, to the man in front of him? Barry West, again, just has been improving and improving. Top split in a very large field, and he is running in 5th.
Yeah, on legitimate pace. And what I noticed biggest out of Barry's race so far is that he made a lot of those positions on the first couple laps. So good aggressive racecraft out of that number 14. It looks like Chris Roberts having some problems, at least up through maybe Radion and out onto the Kemmel Straight.
I was very confused because I looked over and I saw him 4 wheels in the grass there. He got pushed over by Pablo Suarez. Gave a bit of a sarcastic thanks, Pablo, over the radio as we come back to Tanahato once again. Banker on the outside. Banker also unwilling, as twice now Christian has made passes into Puhan. Again, I can't stress enough how dangerous of a spot that is.
Well, and he's up 17 positions, talking about Christian Tanahato right here. So easily our biggest mover of the race. And he's got now Xavier Sanchez only about 3/4 of a second in front of him. Hugh Haycox just passed Xavier. So I don't think the day is over for Christian.
There's been a lot of drivers that have definitely picked up on all the errors that we've seen from some fast competitors that have had their spins or comings together. There are multiple drivers that are 8 or more positions up in the top 10 right now, which is almost unheard of in top split. Hugh Haycox is going to try and get one more over Barry West, who tries his best to defend, but can't hold him back. Now, Hugh is back to where he gritted up for this race.
It certainly seems like Hugh is extremely confident on that brake pedal, but look out for Xavier Sanchez. Barry West trying to make another defensive move as Sanchez goes down to the inside of La Source here. Going to try to box out Barry, but look at the power down traction from the number 14. He's fighting back.
Great run there from Barry West, showing he's got a few tricks up his sleeve. And as they go nose to tail, up and over Radion, who is going to get the run up the Kemmel Straight? Looks like Sanchez is going to have a huge toe, and he's going to go to the outside. But what about Tanahato? We know he's brave, but ironically, he's braver through Puhan than he is into Lacombe. He's going to wait to see how it settles out. Now he pulls a brilliant move and will demote Barry West from around the outside.
I don't know what is in Tanahato's car, but he has got some grip with that thing. It is hooked up underneath him. So now that he's around Barry West, the long way around, I should mention, he now just has Xavier Sanchez in front of him.
And, you know, usually in that situation, when a driver's making up a lot of positions, it's a low downforce setup and they're just breezing past on the straights. But you're right, he's out braking him. How in the world is he doing this?
I don't know. You know, I'll start to watch kind of if he's got a weakness at all, because he's going to be approaching more clean air, one-on-one battles. That's kind of where it kind of comes out to the surface. When you have the big groups of them, it gets a little disguised.
Now we're back to Thomas O'Leary, who gave up all that hard work and is now trying to redo it all over again. Actually, he's done quite a bit of it. He's up 8 from where he started already and into 16th. But there is just an absolute clump of cars here being led by Patrick Samran in 13th.
It looks like maybe, Daniel Banker's having some contact with Jean-Francois Boscus at Blanchimont right there as we continue to watch Thomas O'Leary. Christian Tanahato all over the back of Xavier Sanchez. And I was going to mention Thomas O'Leary had that incident earlier on in the race. There's a lot still going on. Joe, it's only a third of the way through this thing.
Yeah, we still have plenty of racing left before us. And I went back and watched that incident with Banker. And unfortunately, he was kind of shoved off, it looked like. The second time this race, we've seen a driver not leave enough space at the side of the road.
At one of the fastest areas of the racetrack, too. But check out what has happened up front. Topi Kortiniemi, Kimmo Viekainen, the race is on for the lead.
Viekainen looking to add to his tally. I had mentioned it earlier. He's had an amazing streak of podiums. He has yet to finish outside the top 3 this whole season. Looking to do a Schumacher here in the Grand Prix, in the Sunday Grand Prix series. And let's see if he can do it with yet another win over his fellow Finn. They aren't exactly running away from Freesia behind them, but if they start fighting, that could actually help out the 3. There you can see that yellow car.
I was actually going to pay some compliments to Gernot right now because he didn't have the best of starts. So his pace, he hasn't done this with any sort of slipstream. He's been about 1.5 seconds back from that lead group. So I feel that if he does get a sniff of that toe, all of a sudden Gernot might pick up some pace.
So watching Nancy Lepisto here, I can't figure out what happened in his qualifying because both laps counted. Maybe he just had a bit of a slide each time, but only qualified 9th. He's down in 11th still and is kind of stuck in the midst of this pack. That's Banker, Jean-Francois Boscus in front of him, and then Dylan Freckleton in behind. Looks like they won't have any of the dramatic moments that we saw last time with cars getting shoved off. So now we're going to switch back to Chris Roberts, a little bit behind them.
He's currently chasing Pablo Suarez, but also dealing with Sam Ryman all on the gearbox right behind him. So Chris Roberts trying to find a way around using the slipstream through Blanchimont. They all get stacked up a little bit going into the final chicane here. Nobody quite makes a move. Does anybody outbreak themselves? Looks nice and tidy from the 3.
And just up ahead, you can see some side-by-side. That's O'Leary outgunning Samaran on the straightaway. Oh, here we go. Battle for the lead. Side-by-side up into the Lacombe chicane. And Viekainen is going to make it look easy again around the outside of the braking.
Really confident there in the grip level that he's got out of his white and purple machine. So around to the point goes Kimmo Viekainen. Now we're going to see what kind of speed Topi Kortiniemi has. Is he better in the dirty air? Can he hang on to that slipstream? And what kind of top speed does he have?
Exactly. He's run him down. It looks like he's quick at this stage, but what's it going to look like as it carries on here with lots of laps to go? And that fight we were watching earlier with Freckleton and Boscus, looks like Dylan Freckleton just managed to sneak by down into Rivage, as you can see now.
Boscus giving chase to that purple car. Dylan Freckleton going down the hill towards Puhan, one of the fastest corners on this racetrack. You have to have such a high level of commitment as you really kind of accelerate through the bottom half of this thing. I can only imagine driving it in an aerodynamic machine such as this. You're probably just plastered over to one side of the car.
Oh, and now Suarez shows he's got some moxie as he also makes a pass down into Puhan past Chris Roberts. Sam Ryman still going to sit and watch and wait to see if an opportunity will come out of this. This is all a fight for 15th right now amongst these cars. And oh, here we go again.
Yeah, I can say that Kimmo Viekainen kind of locked it up into the final chicane there, so that really allowed Topi Kortiniemi to close it up. But look at that yellow car of Gernot Freesia. He is within slipstream range now. It's a battle for the lead, and Gernot will be right there at the end of the Kemmel Straight.
I think he got some wheel spin coming off of La Source, though. It looks like he dropped back a bit. This is exactly when he needed it, because they're going to have another go at it once again. This time, Kortiniemi looking around the outside of Viekainen. Anything you can do, I can do better. Let's see if he can repeat the feats of the number 1 car, or the number 5 car, I should say. He almost does it. They'll carry on side by side. He'll try and finish up the job, but no. Adam Malmedy, he cuts back underneath. He'll get another go at it down into Rivage, and now Gernot Freesia has truly caught up to them.
Yeah, Topi just underneath the rear wing of Kimmo Viekainen here. Let's see how they make it through this incredibly tricky and tedious left-handers. You start to really plunge down this hill, but we're not even halfway through. We've got the top 3 with a race for the lead, and honestly, if they continue battling, it's not only brought in Gernot Freesia, but Togo Hisada not too far out of it as well.
And you know, the thing I'd be worried about if I'm these two Finns is Gernot is a smart driver is the problem. And now that he's got that slipstream, he's not going to let that go easily.
And remember how strong he was in qualifying. He was second on the board here, and he's done all of this work without the slipstream so far. I wonder if he's content to just kind of hang out, cool his stuff down, or if he just wants to continue the charge and get back into the clean air.
We'll see which he prefers, as Courtenay still reeling in Viekainen once again. Fast run up through Blanchimont, coming up to the braking of the bus stop once again, and Topi backs out of it.
Oh, but another lockup from Kimmo Viekainen, exactly what he did from the last lap. That allows Topi Kohtaniemi to drive right around the outside. Now Gernot Frische looking for a way to capitalize here into La Source, going down to the inside. He makes the move really late on the brakes. Kimmo squeezes him down there.
To the left and the right, weaving, looking for an opening that doesn't quite appear for him. Still, they're all together, and I think they're going to close back in up the Kimmel Straight once again, as long as they are good off the top of the hill. Let's see what it looks like. Viekainen with a monster run on Topi Kohtaniemi.
So Kimmo is passed on driver's left. He's defended on driver's right. He's opting driver's left around the outside again. Look at the grip that he's got.
Back and forth. It is a ping pong table out there that these drivers are swapping the lead once and again as he takes a look down the inside, almost shuts the door. Viekainen leaves about half a car's width, and I think Topi Kohtaniemi decided it wasn't worth the risk.
And you know, one lap has gone by with the front two battling. Togo Hisada has gone from 3.5 seconds back to now 1.8 seconds back. These three continue to do it. It's going to be 4.
Indeed, I think we could have a bigger battle at this rate, and we're still getting to the halfway mark of this race. In fact, just about hitting it here at the end of this lap. There is Hisada in another somewhat traditional livery. Martini actually did sponsor Lotus. I believe it was in either 1980 or 81.
And I mean, Togo has got his head down right now, just hunting down these front three. He's not too familiar either with these Lotus 79s, more familiar with the 49, so great to see a good run out of Hisada here in these machines.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job. But he'll need just a little bit more to catch up to really make this even more fun up there as we come out of the bus stop chicane. Remember, the finish line is not here where it traditionally is at this track. It is down out of La Source. So they'll have one more chance for an attempt at a pass here into La Source if they are close together like this on the last lap.
Extremely good run from Topi Kohtaniemi out of that final corner. La Source, like Joe was saying, and that provides the traction event, the acceleration all the way through Radion Eau Rouge up onto the Camel Straight here. Camel Straight, I should say. Topi Kohtaniemi now making the move to driver's left. He's going to try to pass the long way around. Remember, we've seen Kimmo Viekainen defend from the inside, but no, Kohtaniemi with the top-end speed.
That's the first time I think we've seen it not be an out-braking battle into that corner, because it looked like Viekainen maybe backed off a little bit as he has a little blink too. That's not going to be good. Hopefully they'll be able to keep a solid connection for the remainder of the race, since it looks like the fighting is not going away.
I'd be a little worried. He's not there yet, and I kind of foreshadow too much some of these times, but do you see the lap time that Togo Hisada just put down? A 2:04.8. That's over half a second clear from our leader.
In fact, was that the fastest lap? Yeah, I think that's the first driver to hit a 2:04. Wow.
So he is definitely on the charge. Now, he still has a 1.5 seconds. This is the hardest climb right here to make, to kind of break that bubble and grab that toe from the back end of that car. So he's right there. He's tantalizingly close. Needs to make it a little bit further.
Back to Daniel Banker, who's been in a bit of a fight with Barry West for 9th position. Barry's lost a few spots, but he's still in it. He's still up by 4. Banker's up 7 himself as they head into Stavelo. He's going to get a nice pull here as they exit out, if he gets a good exit. Boy, really pushing the limits. Barry West taking every inch of racetrack. So is Daniel Banker.
All the way climbing up this giant hill here. through Blanchimont. Let's see how fast they're going through this corner here. 175 miles an hour through Apex as Daniel Banker right in the slipstream. Barry West moving defensive, and look at how late Daniel Banker is on the brakes. Can he get it stopped? Way offline. This is going to provide an opportunity for Barry West to try to put the power down, but no. Daniel Banker up into ninth.
Licked the stamp and sent it and made it work in the end as Barry West just shows his nose coming down to the first corner but can't make it happen. Meanwhile, back with the lead once more. Wonder if Viekainen is trying to think big picture here. Wonder if he's not fighting as much to try and keep Hisada from getting any closer.
100%. I'm totally on board with everything you just said. Although, can he see past that giant yellow wing that he's got behind him as now Barry West is using the slipstream. He's going to pop out on Daniel Banker. Can he take it ultra deep into the brake zone? He's got the track position. Oh, side by side rages on between the two.
Daniel was very brave on the brakes, but couldn't find the speed through the corner itself. He'll switch back and give a shot down into Rivage. He'll stick his nose in once more, but Barry West will shut the door and hold on to that ninth spot once again. The more they fight like this, the more they're going to be caught by Jean-Francois and Freckleton behind them.
And as we see, Antti Lepistos kind of ran away from Barry West once he got around him, so he's just kind of lonely up here in the 8th place position as Barry West and I tell you, Daniel Banker, these two still are in the middle of a fight. You were commenting on how much Barry West has improved, but look at how much he's willing to race, and all of the racing is clean.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he's been around for a lot of years here in the Sunday Grand Prix series, and I think he's showing that experience as he fends them off once again. But now he's got a triple threat with 2 other cars on top of it that are eager to try and take this away.
So Daniel Banker trying to line up the slipstream at the right point going up the hill to Blanchimont here. Actually gets choked up just a touch. Now Jean-Francois Boscus is going to be looking to the inside as we've got 2x2 into the final chicane. Can Dylan Freckleton get it stopped? It is side by side between Banker. Barry West is nudged out of the way.
Freckleton just about got a second position when I thought he was going to wind up sliding off into the runoff there. And he's going to continue to fight Barry West down into La Source, going the long way around, but he'll get fended off. An impressive recovery there from Dylan when it looked like he was about to wreck.
What I love about this racetrack, Joe, is we get probably about 10 seconds to catch our breath, right? We go up through this incredible section of turns here and out onto this long straightaway, and here we go, round 2.
It is on again, and it is a drag race up to the braking to the Lacombe chicane, and Freckleton is going to, once again, be incredible under braking, and he does make it stick, but he just drifts his tires out into the grass, and I think that cost him the overtake.
He's on the charge again, and you see Barry West. I think really the key for Barry West driving is Freckleton once again trying the long way around. This oftentimes doesn't work, but he's hanging tough. He's going to have an inside line here going down the hill. Barry West leaves plenty of room, but I was going to say Barry West's best part of his driving is the corner exit as Freckleton once again pokes the nose down the inside.
And Freckleton's best part is the corner entry, so we've got an interesting battle going on between them. Freckleton even smoking the tires at times. This time, though, it was clean, and he is phenomenal under braking. That number 9 car will take 10th with that move.
Jean-Francois now is looking. He's trying to find a way around Barry West. He kind of smells the blood in the water, but I think that Barry West still has plenty of fight in him.
We still got a third of this race left to go with all that's been happening. This is an unbelievable one. This is a real classic that we've got. And Kimmo Viekainen, as we jump back up to the lead, has dropped off a little bit. Now, what this has done is I think Hisada lost a little time now that they've calmed down.
100%. And I really do think this is a bit on strategy, but they've got a little bit of room. Is Kimmo going to do anything? Oh, you know what? I actually think that Viekainen, he was going to go up there and try to bump draft Topi, but Topi went back to the racing line, and so Kimmo had to lift out of it.
Well, Mario Andretti raced in NASCAR as well as F1 in this car, so maybe he's trying to get a little bit of Mario in his head there, see if he can push him forward to gain some time, but didn't do anything to get them away from Hisade. Still stays at about 1.7 seconds back. What about one of our fellow commentators, Sam Ryman? He's fighting with Pablo Suarez. This is for 17th.
And right now, he's got a good run coming up the Kemmel Straight. See what kind of top-end speed. It actually looks like Pablo Suarez right in front of him has a good car down the straightaways. As we like to say, it handles real good down the straights.
Well, I mean, when you get to the Lotus 49, you have to consider the handling down the straightaways sometimes.
That's true.
But here, this car should be glued to the track by the time they're going in a straight line, and they're starting to catch up a little bit here to Mosquera and Chris Roberts, too, so we could have a nice little 5-car fight going on if they don't play too hard, but that was quite wide there by Pablo Suarez going through the exit of No Name.
Yeah, really pulls up Sam Ryman to the back gearbox there. Only one car length separating, but this oftentimes isn't a passing opportunity. Sam Ryman looking to stay on the driver's racing line, not really poking the nose in any sort of dangerous areas, but definitely filling the mirrors of Pablo Suarez right in front of him.
And we've seen Sam start to pick up his aggressiveness recently in a couple of races, just try and make some moves that we don't typically see out of him. What kind of Sam are we going to get today?
And I like that. Remember, he is in that F1 points championship hunt, so he does have to get a little bit more aggressive at some points. But remember, his driving style is collect the points. That's what's moved him up so far in that championship standings. As we check in on our top 3, this is our lead group. Togo Hisada has fallen back by about another half a second, now about 2 seconds behind.
They're not still clinging to the back of them as well, though. So he's trying his best to keep them within range, although sometimes I see him look like he drops off by a car length or so. So I'm not sure if he's pushing it 100% here or if he is holding something in reserve.
So I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat over here, okay, because I love doing that. I think that the 2 fastest cars of this group are Gernot and Togo, right? And Kimmo and Topi are purely running the pace. They're dictating the race right now. But if we have these other 2 variables come up and shake up that front 2, I would be worried if I was them.
To counter that a little bit, Kortsanimi set another fastest lap of the race at a 2:04.4. That said, these cars do get faster as they get lighter, so I think there still could be something to your theory. Whoa! And that was Viekainen going way wide there out of Stabilo 2 as we switch back to Miguel Moreland.
Battle for what is the 17th place position. Pablo Suarez in the red car hanging on for Miguel Moreland, and now Miguel Moreland going to go around the outside. I really think that was Pablo kind of letting Miguel by, and here comes Sam Ryman poking the nose down the inside of Puhan. He said that he wanted a piece of the action.
There we go. That's the Sam Ryman we want to see here, and he's going to try and make it fun there with Pablo Suarez as he goes around the outside, but there's just not enough grip through the first apex of the Fanyu chicane. So he'll back off once again. Also, I can report, after Viekainen's error, Prix actually made a move to try and pass Kimmo in the bus stop. It didn't quite work. So I wonder if Gernot doesn't like the sight of Kortsanimi starting to run away a bit.
Well, I mean, look at the gap. I mean, know that we're watching this battle back here as Sam Ryman continues to draft. He's going to try to make a move on Pablo Suarez, maybe here into the final chicane. But I was going to say, if we look at the gap just even on the pylon, it's up to almost 1 second between Topi and Kimmo. I think if Gernot sees that lead car run away, he doesn't want to let him run away. He wants to tag on to the back of him.
I think you're right. And right here, definitely tagging onto the back of Pablo Suarez. Sam Ryman making sure to keep him honest. That Brabham livery number 24 has got his hands full. In fact, he's dropping off of Miguel Moreland, I think, since he started to have a little bit of a fight with Sam.
And the more he drops off of that car, the more falls into Sam Ryman's just kind of target hairs back here as he still sticks in the slipstream. The one thing that I've noticed, though, doesn't seem like Sam has a ton of top-end speed. I think he's opted more for the higher downforce or medium downforce. A lot of confidence on the brakes and through the corners.
You know, I believe he's told us that in the past as well, that he likes a car that has got some grip on it, so not as good here on the low downforce tracks. Tanahato, we haven't looked at him in quite some time, and now we've got the perfect storm. Hugh Haycox, who had to fight his way back just to get where he is now, and Christian Tanaho, who fought his way through a field where he didn't qualify to get up to sixth position. What is going to happen when they meet?
Well, Christian has caught Hugh probably about a lap and a half ago, and then it's kind of been a little bit more of a painful pace to kind of get right onto the back of Hugh Haycox right here. So I wonder if the dirty air coupled with just the outright speed from Hugh Haycox, as you saw Christian with a little bit of a wiggle there himself into the final chicane. I think that Tanahato, impressive speed, but he's found a good rival.
Well, and you talked about it earlier, that it's going to get harder the higher up he goes. And, well, maybe this is that brick wall that he finally hits as another fastest lap for Topi. Now down to the low 204s. Can he hit the 203s before all is said and done? Frisha going to try and deny him that as he finally goes on the attack down into the Lacombe chicane. Gets side by side, but can't finish it.
And I tell you what, he actually wagged the tail pretty hard on one of these corner exits, but the car still looked hooked up. So I think that Gernot Frisha has a lot of pace in him. About 4 laps left remaining. He's got to get through Kimmo Viekainen because it's now stretched out to 1.8 seconds.
And he lost a little bit of grip there coming off of Rivage. You could see him have to counter steer as it snapped on him and cost him quite a few car lengths. Hisada suddenly in the mirrors, catching up to them. Is this no longer a battle for the win? Is this a battle for second?
It's exactly what Topi Cortinami wants to see, right? He is gapped out from second place as now we check back in. This looks like Sam Ryman trying to make this drafting move just without the top end speed. It is so tough to make down the straightaway.
Yeah, even tucked in behind him, he was starting to lose a bit there. So I think you're spot on about Sam just putting a little bit too much wing and maybe paying the price here, as now he's going to try and use it into braking, and that is where the car can shine.
And I think that now he made this move here on the racetrack, he can kind of pull away from Pablo Suarez. Hopefully that downforce will pay dividends through this section.
It's looking like it is. Yeah, he's trying to make use of it because he knows as soon as they get to a straightaway, he's going to be a sitting duck here. So this is definitely the part of the track where it will work out for him. And see, man, he's already half a second ahead. Yeah, look at him go.
Yeah, great job from Sam Ryman. All it takes is basically getting the pass done at the right corner of the track so that way you can run away.
Ooh, Frisha's going to have another chance at it here. And our director saw the same thing that I did. Viekainen now finds Frisha closing in on him. He holds the middle of the track, but he drifts back off to the side, leaves the door way open for Gernot as they come into the braking. Gernot's ahead of him this time. He shuts the door. But then sneaking him back in, and they make contact. A little bit of ghost contact on top of things. A full 360. Frisha gets it moving, but not before Hisada takes third.
So unfortunate for Gernot Frisha. You know, he was clear of Kimmo Viekainen, and he did the gentlemanly thing, left a lane of room, and Kimmo said, you know what, I'm going to take that lane. And then, like you were saying, Joe, netcode contact. Feel so bad for that number 3 car.
We didn't get to see it earlier, but that's pretty much what happened with Hugh Haycox in his fight. He had netcode in almost the exact fashion. Let's take one more look at it just to analyze. Yeah, I thought he was trying to shut the door there. He had just enough space.
They're so good at racing side by side, but look, no contact is actually made between the 2 cars. They left enough room. I think that Gernot really did the gentlemanly thing and left a full lane of racing room for Kimmo Viekainen. Unfortunately, the internet didn't think so.
Boy, Sam is very slow in a straight line. He almost got repassed by Suarez despite putting almost a second on him in the half a lap that he had. So he's going to have to really, really push here as we check in with Tanahato on Hugh Haycox. Because of Haycox's spin, he's actually about 11 seconds behind Frisha. And it looks like, Gernot also running that incredible pace has gapped them as well. But this is the closest we've seen Christian, I think, since he's caught up to him.
Absolutely. There's been a couple mistakes, one from Hugh, one from Christian. They just kind of have swapped back and forth. But like I said, I think that these two have kind of found themselves on the racetrack. They're rivals now in terms of speed. Just who is going to collect the top 5, because Hugh Haycox in that yellow car currently occupies the 5th place position.
Well, Christian's trying to go plaid here and see if he can get that speed to catch up to Hugh Haycox as they come up and over Radion once again. He can see him up ahead of him, and now he's got the pull. Will it be enough of a straightaway, because he's coming from a long ways back?
Yeah, I'm looking about 5-6 miles an hour is the top end speed that he had, but obviously Christian didn't think that he could get far enough alongside as we check back on Antti Lepisto versus Xavier Sanchez. Here in the Kemmel Straight, looks like Anti's going to make that move.
That's up to 7th now for Antti Lepisto. Another 8 seconds to Tanahato. Again, probably a little too far away for him to go any higher than this 7th place with just a few laps left. Thomas O'Leary, Mr. Excitement for us, is going to give us some more side by side with Jean-Francois Boscus, and it looks like he'll get that pass done. Thomas up to 12th.
And now Thomas has a little bit of clean air to try to run away from Jean-Francois right behind him. Still carrying that front right wing damage is this number 11 car. Remember, Thomas was one of the faster guys in the first third of this race, but then got collected up in one of those first wrecks at the end of the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, I mean, kind of amazing that he's gone through the field twice here and now up to 12th. Seems he likes to do that, kind of our Jason Clapper of this series, as Christian Tanahato has got a good shot on Hugh Haycox. Hugh's going to defend, coming down into the final chicane. Will he be able to hold him back? Because they're almost dead even under braking. That's going to give the inside of the second apex here to Christian, but he's got to get the throttle down, and he can't do it.
It is so tough to put the power down when you're really choked down to the inside on corner exit, but I think really the key is La Source right here. What kind of power down event do both of these drivers get? Hugh gets an excellent run out of the corner, but really doesn't have anybody to draft off of. Christian is right there in the slipstream. This is going to be an interesting one at the end of the straightaway.
I think Christian is a lot closer than last time. Yes, massively closer. This is going to mean it might be a little bit tougher for Hugh Haycox, because last time they were neck and neck into the brake zone. This time, a nose ahead for Christian could give him the edge that he needs. Ooh, still strong on the brakes. Hugh Haycox comes back at him initially. They'll remain side by side, trying not to get hit for the second time by that net code. Hugh Haycox remains wheel to wheel with him as this battle carries on through 3, now 4 corners.
Downhill through Rivage. Now typically it's the inside car that hangs on to it here. Christian Tanahato clears Hugh Haycox by just the slimmest of margins, and now he's got to run away down through Puhan.
Back to Chris Roberts fighting with Samaran. Samaran to the inside, Roberts in the black car around the outside as they also break deep into this same popular passing spot, but Chris not quite brave enough to hold out.
Samaran with a nice defense right there at the end of the straightaway, so Chris Roberts going to have to look for a new way around here. And honestly, I'm pretty surprised at how spread out the top 4 has gotten ever since that very small little incident.
Well, and the fields is spread out as well, yet we haven't had anybody lapped. In fact, we've had a lot of issues, if anything, for drivers that are DNF'd. Knesny, Vandenberg, Gallus, Reed, Reina, and Haycox all out of this race. A pretty big chunk of them. Meanwhile, white flag is out for Topi Kortaniemi, and his gap has extended to 3.5 seconds.
Well, I was the one that was the silly dummy over here saying Gernot and Togo were the fastest cars on the track, but the way Topi has just put his foot down in the last handful of laps, it kind of makes me think, was he just toying with them, saving something for the end?
Well, he knew he couldn't run away as soon as they started battling. Yeah, I'd say he put his foot down. Now into the 203s. Doesn't have the fastest lap. That's Kimmo Viekainen currently by a few hundredths of a second. But that's going to be too little too late.
And actually, Togo Hasada got a slowdown penalty on this lap coming through Le Source, so it has brought Gernot Frisha right back into that battle for third place as we're riding on board our leader, Coach Yaimi, going down through Puhan for the final time.
Well, he started it on pole, but it was definitely not a straightforward race for the Finn, having to beat both Viekainen and Frisha, and to a lesser extent, Hisada up there. Oh, and Christian Tanahato just lost a position to Sanchez. What happened there? He must have lost a couple of positions, so something happened. We'll try and check in a little bit later. In the meantime, we're getting close to the finish for Topi.
Absolutely. All he's got to do is go up through the final set of gears, climb this hill through Blanchimont one more time. A couple big braking areas here that you still got to stay on top of.
Virtual Belgian fans, no doubt, interspersed there amongst the trees in the hills of the Ardennes as he comes through the bus stop chicane. One more corner to go, remember, since this is not the finish for this track. As, we get a side-by-side battle, locking up the brakes. Frisha sliding around as Togo makes some work for it. We'll have to come back to that later. Topi Korteniemi round the final turn and down the hill will take the win here in Belgium.
You see Kimmo Viekainen right here in the white and purple machine will stand on the podium, and Gernot Frisha spins in La Source. He's not going to lose any more positions, but that does make Togo Hisada your third place and final podium finisher.
And that was on his own. That is a rare mistake from Gernot Frisha to see. Meanwhile, this battle for the sixth position sees Lepisto ahead of Sanchez and Tanahato. Bit of a shame, Christian, there at the end. Even still, a gain of 17 is worth applause for Christian Tanahato and the way that he charged up the order.
And look at this battle. Oh, big time lockup there from Miguel Moreland. Almost got into the back of Chris Roberts here. Patrick Samaran is in 15th. He's the white car trying to hang on to this spot.
So last one that is going to finish this race will be Pablo Suarez down in 19th. Good exit here from the likes of Moreland over Ryman. He'll prevent him from overtaking him at the finish line. That's going to take us to a quick break, I believe. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so make sure to stick around. Welcome back here to Spa-Francorchamps. It was unrelenting today with such an incredible battle there all throughout. But at the front of it, Topi Kortaniemi managed to run away in the end once he was able to shake his clingers for that draft. Kimmo Viekainen, definitely the one fighting him hardest for it, came home second. And Togo Hisada played the long game. Once a mistake happened in front of him, he picked it up and wound up third. Gernot Friesche getting involved in a side-by-side battle, spun around, had to settle for fourth, tried to get it back there at the very end, just not enough, and managed to get a top five at the very least. Hugh Haycox suffered, we find out from the text chat afterwards, from a broken car early after some contact, and yet he still came back to fifth. A.T. Lepisto was sixth behind him. Xavier Sanchez up from 15th to 7th, just pales in comparison to Christian Tanahato, 25th to 8th, as Daniel Banker was 9th today and Dylan Freckleton 10th.
And then one of the toughest fights all race long, the number 14 car of Barry West rounds out in 11th place. Thomas O'Leary up 12 positions after starting in pit lane to finish in 12th. Jean-Francois Boscus in 13th. Javier Mascara back here in 14th, and a great drive himself, up 7 positions. Patrick Samaran here in 15th. Chris Roberts will finish in the 16th place position, up 7 positions himself as well. Miguel Moreland in 17th. Sam Ryman in 18th. Pablo Suarez in 19th. And then, unfortunately, the rest of the names, Peter Konechny, a handful of laps down, and the rest, Timothy Vandenberg, Daniel Gallus, Timothy Reed, Juho Raina, Ian Haycox, either did not finish the race or did not even start today.
Yeah, a lot of DNFs there at the end, which really kind of belies the reality of the incredible racing we did get to see, including from Topi Kortaniemi, who had to swap back and forth quite a bit, but came out our winner. Topi, you know, we were kind of watching and theorizing. We thought that we saw you guys fight at first, and then it looked like you two kind of settled in. Did you notice that Togo and Gernot were catching you guys and figured you need to cool it out?
Yeah, pretty much so. I was just looking that if we keep fighting too much, like too wide all the way to Pujon, like with Pauli, they would catch us and probably get the lead, and there's no use for that. Apparently, Kimmo did some mistakes, and I was able to get some of the gap, but he was pretty fast today. I mean, I'm impressed.
We were impressed too. All three of you gave us some incredible racing. You talked about that gap. Is that kind of what you really wanted all along, or did it surprise you that you were able to finally kind of get that breakaway to control the race?
No, I was just looking for a good race. I didn't have much practice, but I just checked that with like 5/10 gap, I wouldn't need to defend into Lecombe, but with a 4/10 gap out of La Source, I would have to defend, and I knew that it would make no use to battle too much, so the gap is the only way to win, surely, so I was aiming for that.
First time we've seen you since the Nürburgring. You come back and take yet another victory like you did before. Does Mugello, Hungaroring, or Le Mans interest you for these final three?
Yeah, Mugello. Maybe I've done some practice lap already, I think in week 13, so maybe. We'll see.
Well, we look forward to seeing more of you because obviously you give us quite a bit of entertainment, but congratulations on the win.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Topi Kortaniemi taking the victory today over Kimmo Viekainen, who's probably not too sad because his main championship rival had problems today. He's with Joey.
Kimmo Viekainen, congratulations on the second place finish.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
So it seemed pretty busy the entire race from you, whether that was chasing down Topi, defending from Gernot behind it. What was it like from you from the driver's seat?
Yeah, I had a lot of action today, but honestly, I made too many mistakes. I think I had the pace for the win today, but that's something I need to clean up my racing. But second place is a good finish for today.
So since you said you had to clean up the racing, I do have to ask you, Kimmo, how do you see that contact between yourself and Gernot there at the closing stages of the race?
Yeah, we watched the replay after the race, and we both think that it was a little net code, but that's a shame because we had a so good battle there.
I tell you what, that's exactly how I saw it too. It seemed like everybody left a lane and then some ghost contact kind of crept up into it. You never like to see it, but still can't complain about second place and looking at the final rounds of the championship. Mugello, Hungaroring, and Le Mans. How is your confidence on the speed level? You going to claim a checkered flag at any one of those three?
I don't know. These next two tracks are, I think, pretty similar. Of course, Mugello has the long straight, but the Le Mans will be an interesting race when we got all the wings off and race the car, so we can have the maximum top speed and actually no steering. So let's see how that goes.
That tends to be kind of how the cars get all loose when you trim them out like that. But Kimmo, congratulations on the second place. Thank you so much for coming out and racing here and providing us some awesome entertainment.
Cheers, guys.
That was Mr. Viekainen finishing in the second place position today.
And third behind him was Togo Hisada, who mostly just was kind of a passenger for much of the race. You were trying to catch up to them. And in the end, you just inherited the position. Well, at first, at least, I should say. What was it? How hard were you pushing to try and catch them there in the middle of the race?
That was nightmare. And top three is stuck. Yeah, and the top is so fast. So I just just behind the third position car for the 1.1 or 1.2 seconds just off this slipstream. So that's really stressful. I can try to drive the car as fast as I can, but I have no chance to follow the top three cars. So just waiting for the battles at the end. And finally, I just unfortunately collided with the second car and catch the Timo, but just last lap first corner, I just mistake the braking and it completely lost the chance to earn the second place. So that's what.
At the very end, you and Gernot were fighting hard to settle that third place. Were you worried at all with how aggressive he was?
Yeah, his braking is so deep, and this is Germany server, so I'm 300 in for as a Japanese driver, so the really big amount of the net code hit. Yeah, I just collided with net code hit with the Hugh Haycock's the second lap, so that I just so afraid about that.
Well, we don't see as much here in the Lotus 79 as we do in the 49s. I am guessing it's because it's probably pretty late at night. What time is it for you?
2:40 in the early morning, Monday in Japan.
Yeah, that's getting pretty late for me, but congratulations on being able to stay awake and also be incredibly fast.
Thank you.
That was Togo Hisada finishing third here today. And I think we got one more. I think Joey's got Barry West, who is definitely in the thick of it out there.
Well, Barry West, you are one of the most amusing drivers to watch. You fight for every single position out there, and you just had your hands full the entire race, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I knew I was out of position, but I wasn't going to give in easy. And I thought it might back them up a bit, and they might have some trouble themselves. But yeah, it was good fun. My race was with Daniel in the end, and I knew it was with Daniel. So yeah, we've just been having words because I think it was a bit elbows out. I think he could have given me more room, but we'll discuss it amicably. But it cost me a place to Nathan as well. So yeah, still P11. I expected a P10, but yeah, I've been quite good here all week. So Jack's shout out for Jack's setup at Slush. Yeah, really good.
So I gotta ask you, I noticed in the first few laps you had jumped up several positions up there just based off of the racecraft. How did you manage that? I noticed there was one incident at the end of the Kemmel Straight. Was it just great opportunity and you took advantage?
Yeah, I suppose so. There's been quite a few incidents this week, and I haven't been caught in any. So I had alternative plans. If it was at the top of, if it was Radillion, there's a lot of runoff on the right. So as long as you don't run off close to the barrier, because you can get cars bouncing off and that sort of thing, but which has happened the other day. But you got to be prepared to slow up and brake, basically. And then there's another one in the week where at the bus stop chicane, somebody stopped in the middle of the track, and I had to actually stop the car to save an incident. And yeah, it worked out. But I know it's not fun driving this place with damage, so I suppose it's just trying to preserve the car. But yeah.
So I have to ask you, Barry, because I asked the other drivers. We've got 3 races remaining in the championship: Mugello, Hungaroring, and Le Mans. Do you either, or I should say, do any of those 3 kind of tickle your fancy on a strong suit?
Mugello, I don't know, because I don't think we did a race earlier in the year there against the GTs, but I like the track, but I don't know if it likes me. You know, I like the Red Bull Ring, but I don't seem to go very well there. So Mugello, I don't know. What was the other one? Le Mans is just a drag fest, and just happens as long as you don't come off with anybody.
Hungaroring.
Hungaroring. I like the Hungaroring. I must admit, it's kind of nice technical track, and yeah, I seem to go well there. So yeah, at the 3, I'll probably look forward to that one.
Well, I know that I'll be watching you throughout all of the races that you're here, because, like I said, one of the more amusing drivers, putting up a great fight out there, and it's always so clean watching you race side by side. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Well, I just said I must have some Finnish blood in me, because I can remember one day, I think Kimo saying, you know, fight for everything. And so, yeah, that's what I decided to do today. It's just, I should have probably carried on, but never mind. Anyway, yeah, you guys, yeah, wonderful broadcast, yeah. And my wife for giving me the time to come and play.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there, Barry.
My wife's to give me the time to come and play with everybody.
Awesome. Well, that was Barry West. After an amazing drive today, finishes in the 11th place position.
Which is going to wrap us up. So we want to end it with a big thank you to the Lotus 79 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. Also, thanks to the team today, Joey, Daniel, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, and our merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. Next race, as we said, Mugello, that'll be Sunday, February 18th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. But be sure to check out our other broadcasts listed here. Up next is going to be the Rolling Thunder Series. If you can peel yourself away from the big game, that'll be at Chicagoland at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.